Okay, so this is going to be part 2 of the Q&A. It's going to just dive right into where I left off, but I just wanted to kind of let you guys know, if this is your first video, I'm Tatiana, I'm the owner of the Stationery Muse, and I'm doing a business Q&A video. There's actually a part 1 to this video, so if you didn't get a chance to see that one, click that link. I'll have it down below and maybe up in the cards for you guys. If you want to see part 1, I answered quite a bit of the questions in that first one, and so let's get into part 2.
Change is crazy, yeah. Change is crazy, yeah. I will always love you.
I'm gonna try to speed this up because I feel like I'm just sitting here and I'm not doing my next thing. So I'm gonna go ahead and fold these covers up. I have so many more to print, but I made myself these little templates. So basically, you might have saw in an earlier clip, my husband actually helped me. He actually went to school for graphic design and I'm self-taught graphic design. So between the two of us, things usually can get done, but I wanted a kind of more laid out Illustrator template for when I'm printing my covers. So he set me up, he got the layers and all of that stuff in order. So it's so easy to print off my covers. I have like a little thing with my border so I can see that it's, lined up and all of that stuff. But once it gets printed out, I wanted to make sure that I'm folding everything. So I basically printed out the little lines from the Illustrator file, and then I just labeled them front and back. And so I use these to actually fold the pages, and then that way I know it's pretty much accurate every time. Again, the stuff's handmade, nothing is perfect, but I do try my best to do the accuracy that I can as I'm learning through this process, because that's the one thing I will say before I get back into the questions. When you decide to go like a handmade route, it may not be for everyone as far as like people that want to purchase, because some people will expect perfection from you, and that's just not going to be the case. And not that I don't try my best, because I definitely do. I've been doing handmade products now for almost 5 years with my business, and so that's just kind of the nature of it. And so just kind of realize that if you're doing something by yourself, there are some different little like details and things that can make or break something looking like it's store-bought, and that is okay. That is not my goal, to make it look like it's store-bought, because I know that's not realistic. But I just wanted to share that with you because it's something that can be overlooked, and it may not be what you're comfortable doing, if that's the case. But usually I don't really have issues. Every now and then I might get someone that will have something to say, but typically people are more than satisfied because they know I work really hard to make them happy. So, okay, so what was the question I was answering for you guys? Oh, yes. Do you have to be an artist to do a business, to start a business? No. So the reason that, and she said even like, is it possible to run a successful stationery business that way? So I don't really consider myself an artist. I am very creative. I do have an eye for things. I do graphic design. So in that sense, I guess if you want to consider that to be an artist, there's that. But if you're talking more so like an illustrator or drawing, like making dolls or different things like that, dolls, I don't know if I said that weird, but I personally don't do that myself. I don't know how to do that. Neither am I really trying to go that direction with my business either, though, because there's so many different things out there. You will find businesses that do not have illustrated graphics. They simply just use like really fun text and play with fonts and colors and things like that. Then you have a lot of stationery companies, planner companies, and they really work with like all the different illustrations and the dolls and all of that stuff. And they kind of have their lane. Some of them do it themselves. Some of them work with an illustrator and get them, I think they call it like get it commissioned or something like that. So you could find an illustrator to help you with that. They'll get your style and then they can make the graphics for you. You can also go the commercial art route, basically, going on sites like Creative Market or something, and then purchasing the art and the license that will allow for you to use it. So there's a lot of ways you can do it without having to do one illustration yourself. So no, not by any means. You do not need to be an artist, have a successful stationery business. And that just goes across the board. If it's something that you don't know, it doesn't mean your business won't be successful. It means either, figure it out yourself or find someone that can do it for you. So yeah, that's definitely a really good piece of advice as well. Don't ever doubt your ability to start a business just because you don't know something. Okay, so what do you think made your business so successful? Well, all right, I'm gonna keep it kind of real with you guys on this one, just for the moment. So although I have been in business for, it'll be 5 years next year, which I can't believe, first of all. I feel like I have a long way to go. So whenever someone asks me or they say, oh my God, you're so successful and things like that, why I do feel like I've had some wins and I feel like I'm growing at a decent pace and things like that. I feel like I have such a long way to go when it comes to what my picture of success is for my business. But first of all, thank you, because obviously that means you think I'm successful. So thank you so much. And I do too. I think I'm just hard on myself and I always want to see myself grow even more. But what I will say as far as that, some of the things that I think has made it successful and just that it's still standing and that I'm keeping it going, which that in itself is success. I would say, make sure this is the back. The biggest thing is just I don't give up. I will have my moments where I'll probably just try to take a moment, step away if things aren't working or whatever the case is. If you might have an issue where something just didn't go quite the way that you expect or that I didn't think went the way that I would expect or just whatever, I'll take a moment to step away. That's just healthy to do. But I always come back and I always try to reinvent what I'm doing, learn from my mistakes and different things like that. And I think that's what has allowed me to stay here. In addition, I also am a really huge, I wouldn't even say, self-starter in a sense, but really good about if I don't know how to do something, I figure out how to do it. I will Google my way through something. I will YouTube tutorial my way through something until I figure it out. And I've been doing that since I started my business. All of the things that I have learned has really come from just my self-research over the years, trial and error, and all of those different things. And so I think that would just be my biggest thing, because I see so many times where if someone runs into one issue, if it's a technology issue or it's an issue of I don't know where to get these printed or, whatever the case is, people tend to give up really easily. And that has just never been me. And so just to kind of, put a spin on it and just to give you some encouragement in your business, I always think that it is so important to put yourself out there in a sense of doing the work, researching if you need to, and it will all come together. Business is just kind of one of those things where it's slow and steady, and the more you put into it, the more you will get out of it. So the more you show up for yourself, the more sales you will get. The more you design, the more new customers you'll get that will come and see things. So it just really comes down to you being consistent, you showing up for yourself, and that is all levels of success. It'll all lead to sales and consistent customers and all of those things. Okay, we're almost done. I think I have just a couple more questions. Okay, so where do you get the medium length t-shirts, long sleeve ones to purchase? Okay, so all of my shirts come from a couple of different places. The one that I've been using more recently is Jiffy Shirts, and they have really affordable shirts. Actually, hold on, let me grab my little thingy. Jiffy Shirts, I would say there's a lot of shirts like that, like clothing shops online. Trying to think, Shirt Champ, that's where I get all of mine from. I know that they do sell shirts and things like that where you can get them in Michael's and Hobby Lobby. The thing with that is, I've done that before too, especially with boxes and things in the past, but usually you can get a bigger amount for a lot more affordable if you go on one of those company sites. And it's just basically just look up wholesale t-shirt companies, and they sell different varieties. They sell sweatshirts, t-shirts, long sleeve shirts, all of those different things. So it's pretty simple to find some that will work out for you. Okay. So do you think it's better to teach myself graphic design or pay a designer? All right, I might not be the right person to ask, 'cause I feel like I'm a little biased on this, but I am always really big on, especially in the beginning, if you can, learning stuff yourself, and even not even because you want to get all the money or anything like that, but just because it's power to know how to do something. Like when I used to work with women to do their websites, after I was done working with them, I would show them how to use their website. I'm not the type of person that would be like, oh, come back to me every time you need to do something, every time you need to add something. No, I want you to have it within yourself to know how to do something. And it's same with graphic design. I think that it's important to know how to do some of those basic things for your business, because I do consider graphic design to be a pretty basic thing, and I feel like learning it is important. So I do think, maybe as you grow, or if you just don't feel comfortable doing it, then by all means, definitely hire someone to help you. But if you have even an inkling and an interest of doing your own graphics, I would definitely do it. And you even have websites now like Canva that has amazing templates. You literally plug in your text and your colors and you're good to go. So there's really no reason why anyone can't do graphic design, even if you don't make the design from scratch yourself. You could use things like that. If it's more illustration based, that could come down more to just like skill. I think anyone can learn with a lot of patience and things like that. But that might be where you may want to outsource if you're not into like actual drawing and illustrating or painting, depending on what it is you're trying to do. But if it's quick graphics, things like that, I would highly recommend learning graphic design. I think you'll definitely benefit from that. Okay, so is there a, I was like, wait, what? Okay, is there a program that you would recommend to design your own stickers other than Procreate? So I actually filmed a video back in like maybe February or January of this year, and I kind of talked about this a little bit. So pretty much I was making all of my stickers in Illustrator. I was actually hand drawing my stickers on paper, and then I was uploading them to, what am I trying to say? Y'all, I'm gonna lose my train of thought. This is, I used to be able to multitask so well, and then after having my daughter, I'd be like, what am I doing? Where do I live? What did I eat? Oh yeah, I would scan it in and then I would upload it to Illustrator. I would trace the stuff and then I would add the colors all in Illustrator. Then I would bring them into Silhouette to create the actual sticker file templates. Nowadays, and then after that, I actually purchased one of those tablets, which I believe I show in that sticker video. I purchased one of those tablets and it's really nice. You can connect it up. I believe it's called, I don't even know if I have it over here. Let me see. Yes, here it is. It comes in this really nice case too. But let me see if the name of the company is on here. Yes. So it's called Huion, Huion, and it's like a little tablet, and then it also has a pen for you that's attaching, and I believe this can be compatible with any program, so you could use Paint. If you have like Windows, you can use Illustrator. You could probably do it on a Word document if you needed to, because it basically just draws on whatever program you have up, I believe, on the screen. But now I actually do use Procreate, and I know that some people may not have like an Apple product, but that is what I use. I can't really speak to any other programs because that's what I use now. They do have some pretty affordable iPads in a sense of like that are cheaper than, like, you don't have to get an iPad Pro to use Procreate. You will have to get an Apple Pencil in order to use it, but you could even get, like, we got the basic iPad last year, and that's what I've been using. Like, I don't have an iPad Pro. At one point I was even using Procreate on my phone. So I would say definitely just do some research or invest in one of those tablets. That tablet was really affordable. It was under $30, I think. And then you can connect it up with whatever program you want to use to, you know, like design it or draw on it, color it in and everything. Okay, so, all right, we got a couple more. I feel like I've been talking forever. This video is probably getting so long. If you're even still watching, you guys are amazing. If you're still watching, comment Boss Babe if you're still watching. Okay, So 2 more videos. Do you think it's possible to run a successful business without going live on social media and YouTube? Okay, this is a good question. And it's kind of a question that's kind of holding me accountable because I need to be going live more on everything, but I'm so just scary when it comes to going live. I don't know what it is. I can do YouTube videos all day, but as soon as I have to go live, I'm like, I don't know. But what I will say is I don't necessarily think you have to go live in order for it to be successful. However, I do feel like it is a good tool to use because it just allows people to get to know you in real time and interact with you. It's about as close as you can get to in person these days with customers and things like that. And I just feel like it's valuable in that sense. But if you have, I just feel like regardless, I really think you need to be on social media in order to grow these days. And someone may say something different. I know you can do like ads and different things like that, but I just feel like there's nothing like just connecting with people. And I feel like that really comes from being on social media, because I don't know how else you really would do that. Of course, building an email list and things. So I think all of those components really help. Like if I had to really just narrow it down to a few things, I would say successful business formula. Okay, things you want to have. You want to have a social media presence. You definitely want to have an email list, even above that, because if social media went away, you would have your email list. Some kind of home where your site lives. So, or just a home for yourself in general, for people to come and find your products and everything. So a website or just a platform that you may sell on, like Etsy or something like that. And then, you know, just consistency with bringing value to people. I think if anything, my biggest thing, and I say this all the time, I feel like success really comes from when you show your authentic self and you provide value to people. And that may come from posts on Instagram, that may come from doing stories, that may come from blog posts, your products. But I do feel like going live is not necessarily the only thing you need to do for success. I think it's kind of like a combination of things. It's a combination of things, but going live is just kind of one of those things. It's almost like the sugar on the top. And now with like some of the new updates they have going on, I know some people even have badges where when you have people on, you can actually get paid for badges when you're on live. But it's only for certain accounts right now. I think you just kind of have to keep using it, and maybe Instagram rolls it out occasionally. I'm not 100% sure, but I think give it a try. Don't count going live out. Although I don't do it that often, it's something that I have written down to do a lot more. So you guys will be seeing a lot more of me live. But yeah, so I don't think it equals success, but I do think it's something to consider and possibly look into doing. Okay, last question. So a lot of people are asking about subscription boxes too, and this was kind of just the last thing I want to just close out on. So it's hard for me to answer the question of the subscription box without knowing what you're putting in there. And so I think this is really where, again, working with me can be helpful. I will be having a program that's coming, so look out for that, and that will be helpful for anyone that's starting subscription box, single products, things like that. But my biggest tip for the subscription box, no matter what it is, you know, once you kind of know who you're making the subscription box for, you know what you want to put in it or what type of box you want to have. You might be doing a lifestyle box where you maybe have different types of things. Like I know Sips By, for example, they do teas. It just really depends. You might be doing a beauty type of box. If you're doing something like mine, it's a little bit of a mix of handmade lifestyle and stationery products, which is kind of changing a little bit, but that's what it was. It just depends on what you're doing. But once you kind of know or have an idea of like, okay, this is what I want to put in there, start researching the products and kind of figuring out where you can get different things from. I always start on Amazon. It's a great place to check. See what's already out there in the market and see what people are putting in their boxes, see how much they're charging to kind of get a feel for what the overall just average price is, and then factor that into your own costs. So, you know, if you're finding that maybe if you wanted to charge $30 for a box, but you're noticing that your products are costing you almost $25, then maybe you need to change the route of how you're doing it. And that's why I ended up making my own shirts as a good example, because if I was to get my shirts printed from where I had researched and looked, it just would have costed way too much for me to get them made from someone else when I could just make them here. I have the equipment to do it and things like that. So it really just depends on how much you're willing to do yourself versus how much it'll cost to get it from somewhere else. Of course, you can also do really huge orders from, you know, like manufacturers from Alibaba, I cannot talk this morning, from Alibaba and things like that. But just keep in mind, typically they are going to want a minimum order quantity, just basically meaning, especially if it's custom, that you might need to get like a minimum of 1,000 or something like that. So keep that in mind. That's not always the case. I've gotten a lot of products from AliExpress, especially, where I've been able to get like 30 or 50 or 60 or something like that. But just know that you may run into that issue. But once you kind of know where you're sourcing them from, break down those costs, figure out how much it would cost for one of them, and then factor that in, add all of those up, and that will help you to figure it out. You want to make sure that you're making some type of profit. And this is something that I'm still working on myself, honestly, to know how to price things properly, to make sure that it's for a profit and not necessarily, I always want myself to be affordable, but I don't want to lose money. You know what I mean? So you really have to factor those things in. And really, as far as like the frequency, again, that kind of comes down to you. When I started my box, it was monthly, and I thought that was great for a long time. And then after I had my daughter and just life and all those things, I realized, I'm like, okay, monthly is not necessarily as realistic as me being one person. Now, if I had like a full team, I didn't have a full-time job and things like that, then okay, I probably could have kept the monthly box up, but I shifted, you know, a little bit. And so then I went to every other month, so bi-monthly. And that was a lot more doable for me. But now that it's paused, I think when I come back, it's going to be quarterly. So at this point, I will have done a little bit of everything. But just keep in mind with monthly, that is literally every 30 days or so. You can kind of plan out in advance and have a couple you're working on at a time. I never did that because I'm a procrastinator sometimes. But basically what I'm saying is you have to really just think about that in terms of like what you are comfortable doing, how much time you have to commit, because that's literally you sitting down, figuring out however many products you're putting in there. Like if it's 8 to 10, that was about how many I did, 6 to 8 products. You figure out how many products and you have to go find those, and you may have to, either you're designing them, you're working with someone else, you got to order all of the supplies, make sure everything gets in on time, order the packaging stuff. All of that gets kind of factored into it. And so for me, that became too much month to month, plus trying to figure out the theme and all that stuff. But I never discourage somebody from doing monthly. If you got it in you, girl, do it. And bi-monthly is great as well. Just kind of gives you that little cushion of time to figure it out. I also do have a lot of other videos on my channel talking all about like where I get stuff from, where I get my boxes and just all of those things. So definitely take a look at those for more subscription box stuff. But this video is probably extremely long. I'm about to edit it really fast so that I can get it uploaded shortly, but that's pretty much all I got for you guys. Thank you so much for watching. If you have any other business related questions, definitely leave them down below. I will be happy to answer. And I'm gonna get to work on these planners so that I can get these out to these amazing ladies, and I will see you guys soon. Bye.